start with subordinating conjunctions, like and now, perfect. Can you put your right side up? Thank you. Okay. And now we'd like to say the 7 sentence patterns. S-B-I, S-B-T-D-O, S-B-L-E-A, S-B-L-E-A, S-B-T-D-O, S-B-T-D-O-O-C-A, S-B-T-D-O-O-C-A. So along with doing grammar and essentials, we also play 30 minutes of math games. And we have some favorites that we play that are mostly designed to increase the student's speed at computation of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. In one special week, one of our students brought in the 6 times tables from 6 times 1 to 6 times 13. And he had drawn characters embedded in each number. And on the back of the big picture that he held up, he had a story for it. It was fantastic. That was Parker. And then a third part of the Essentials program is the writing program that they have. So they start out with a bare bones paragraph, and then they add to it the different stylistic techniques that they learn a new one each week. So they learn to add a clause that starts with who or which. They learn to add ly adverbs, quality adjectives, and learn different ways to start the sentences to make it more interesting. And we have some of their samples of writing in one of the side rooms next door where the artwork is, so we would invite you to go and take a look at that.
Okay, so now Miss Just Joy in her Challenge A class is going to present.
Hey, so I've had the privilege, and some might call it torture, of teaching our Challenge A class. They're going to start with their essays and public speaking that they've been working on throughout the year. So just like with Essentials, they start off very simple and easy, and then in the middle of the year we start to add things to it, and by the end of the year it's a totally different paper. So here's Gracie with our very first essay.
Lucy should not have gone into the closet for 3 reasons. It's a small space, so she would have limited air. In an emergency, nobody would know where she was, and they could have fallen over. The first reason Lucy should not have gone into the closet is because it's a small space, so she had limited air. The second reason Lucy should not have gone into the closet is because in an emergency, nobody would know where she was. The third reason Lucy should not have gone into the closet is because it could have fallen over. Lucy should not have gone into the closet because it's a small space, so she had limited air. In an emergency, nobody would know where she was, and it could have fallen over.
That was really fun and entertaining, wasn't it? Oh yeah, that was our first one. Thank you, Gracie. Maddie's going to read one of the ones after we started to add what Essentials class calls dress-ups, we call exordiums, which is you're their attention grabber that you're going to grasp your audience with, and a couple other parts.
A garden is a grand teacher. It teaches patience and careful watchfulness. It teaches industry and thrift. Above all, it teaches entire trust. In the book The Secret Garden, everyone agrees that Mary had to make a decision. Some agree that Mary should have decided to sneak Colin into the secret garden, while others agree that Mary should not have decided to sneak Colin into the secret garden. Mary should have snuck Colin into the secret garden for 3 reasons. It was beneficial to Colin. It would help Colin and Mary become responsible, and as they cultivated the land, they created a lifelong friendship. The first reason Mary should have snuck Colin into the secret garden is that it was beneficial to Colin. The fresh air brought healing. Colin gained strength, and sunshine gave him energy. The second reason Mary should have snuck Colin into the secret garden is that it would help Colin and Mary become responsible. They developed a work ethic, they took care of the animals, and working hard, they created something beautiful. The third reason Mary should have snuck Colin into the secret garden is that as they cultivated the land, they created a lifelong friendship. Mary could have chosen to be secretive and selfish, but she chose to be open and altruistic. Working in the secret garden helped Mary and Colin learn to share, helped Mary and Colin learn to trust people, and working in the garden created an incredible bond between Colin, Mary, and Dickon. Mary should have snuck Colin into the secret garden because it was beneficial to Colin, it would help Colin and Mary become responsible, and as they cultivated the land, they created a lifelong friendship. It mattered to Colin because it showed him that Mary trusted him enough to share her secret.
Thank you, Madison. So see, that one had a little bit more substance to it, a little bit more interesting. And now we have our most shy student, Jackson, who's going to read one of the essays we did at the end of the year. And he's going to go on stage.
Alright, so I'm going to read from a book that I do not recommend reading. Alright. So, this book is called, I forget the word of it. If you had absolutely nothing to do, would you write a journal? Because I sure would not. Catherine should not write a journal for 3 reasons. Walking and riding is dangerous. Not paying attention to her surroundings is very risky. Or she could get hurt while she's writing. If this was to be taken to a jury or an argument, with the lawyers and all the fanciness, and the judge with his baby hammer banging on the desk, and him with his fake powdered wig that would be as fluffy and puffy as a cloud, then both sides would agree that Catherine writes the journal. But the question is if she actually should write it. The 2 sides that would be taken is the affirmative side, Catherine should write the journal, or the negative side, Catherine should not write the journal. But this argument will not be taking place in a jury, so we will go with my side, which was that Catherine should not write her journal. My first proof for why Catherine should not write her journal is that walking and riding at the same time is dangerous. Because if she does that, then she could walk right through the 2nd-story window and into the middle of a thorn bush, and then she could have died from either the fall or getting stabbed by death by the thorn bush. Or she could accidentally walk into the middle of the road and get run over by a horse, or a cart, or multiple ones of them. Another thing that could happen is that she could fall down the stairs, through those doors, and right into a fire. That could be at the front of the house, and she could get burned to death. The second reason was that it was risky to not pay attention to her surroundings, and to write the book instead. She could be sitting on a rock and getting kidnapped because she is just writing, or she could get killed by a murderer because she's just writing her book also. A third thing that could happen is that she could be sitting on a rock in the middle of a forest, and animals could come and kill, eat, or even maul her. The third reason is that she could get hurt while writing is that she could get hand cramps, get stabbed by a pencil, and get lead poisoning, or she could get stabbed by a quill and get ink poisoning. But if I were to be taking the side of the affirmative, then I would say that Catherine should write the journal for 2 reasons. She can write down all of her thoughts and her feelings in the journal. And if she writes the journal when she gets older, then she could get a writing-based job. When she writes down her thoughts and feelings, she could write down her happy and exciting thoughts or all of her important memories that she wants to remember. Or she could write down something that could even brighten her day. This example is not very persuasive because even if she writes down her angry thoughts, then she could possibly get angry at the book, rip it to shreds, or throw it in the fire. The second one. Also, if she writes down about her best friend's death, Cassie, who was as dead and dismaying as Catherine is alive and encouraging, then it is still discouraging to her everyday actions. The second reason is that she could get a writing-based job, like writing teacher, a book writer, or an editor for the books. The only problem is that she wouldn't or might not even have time to look for any love life or any friends at all because she is cooped up inside of her office all of her life. As you may have seen, these positives have negatives to counter against them, so being affirmative isn't very nice at all. In conclusion, Catherine should not write the journal because of walking or writing is dangerous. Not paying attention to her surroundings is risky, and she could get hurt while writing. This situation matters most to family and friends because she's spending all of her time having her nose in the journal.
So yeah, he's our entertaining child. A lot of times when we get to listen to his essays, we get to hear them in his favorite Australian voice. Sometimes he does a cowboy, and sometimes they mix over and we get an Australian cowboy. It's very entertaining. I think now we're gonna watch a video on the kids did a whole second semester on a book called Fallacy Detective. And what that does is it prepares them for next year for mock trial and debate class and how to argue correctly and fairly. How we don't just have Katie come and say, well, I think that we need to have our end of year celebration on Monday. And I'm like, no, we should do it Wednesday. And she says, but Monday's more convenient, we have class, and then when Monday's over, we're just done. And I'm like, well, you're stupid and ugly, so it doesn't matter what you say. That would not really be a fair argument, right? So the kids came up with skits on their own. We videotaped them. I did it on my iPhone, so I hear that the sound is kind of wonky, but we'll see what we got.
No, why? Because they're my favorite and I don't have enough money. Please.
And scene. Thank you. Jackson teamed up.
Alright, so this is the ad hominem attack.
Ad hominem attack is when you put a personal attack against somebody, or you roast them, or stick it to the man, just make fun of them, basically. This is the ad hominem attack.
Guys, you like my new shoes?
Yeah, they're okay.
Just okay? What's wrong with them?
Well, they don't look very good. Where did you get them?
Well, I got them from the Nike shoe store. This guy wanted them for $100, but I pleaded with him and he let me get them for $50. Aren't they nice?
Well, you're stupid for paying that much money for them, so you're ugly. Yeah. You're so ugly. You're ugly. Yep. No. And see, thank you.
All by myself.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. asked if they liked his shoes, and they were attacking me. This is the genetic fallacy.
The genetic fallacy is where you make fun of the origin, the beginning part of which something came out from, or from which someone came out from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wear them like all the time. Yeah.
And then there's con.
Hey, look at the new cowboy boots. Oh.
Ew, did you know that?
Wait, where are they from? They're from China. Oh, China?
China.
Oh.
Did you know that poor kids in China made those?
Yeah, they're
they're poor and all their
Germans?
filthy hands got
Oh.
all over them.
Yeah, you're
Disgusting.
poor.
Get
Oh
away
my
from us.
god, no. Ow! Was the genetic fallacy because they were talking about shoes, and I came up and showed my parents that were from China, and they were just saying China. This is the straw man fallacy. The straw man fallacy is where somebody tells one person to do something, but they over-exaggerate it, and basically that's it. So, here's what I was getting.
What, you want me to be a grandma and I give you anything cool for your birthday?
Okay. Fine.
So, the straw man fallacy, that was the straw man fallacy. What was happening was, Madison was playing the drums in the background, and I was using the hula hoop, and I was grandpa standing on one leg, using the hula hoop, where I could potentially hurt myself. And Gracie, being my granddaughter or whatever,
Yeah.
came along and said, "Grandpa, you're not supposed to do that. You can hurt yourself." And then I came back with the statement that meant that I was over-exaggerating that instead, and I was being what was said in the video cool, but she made it kind of sound like to me that she didn't want me to be cool anymore. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're so much fun. I love them all. Okay, so what I was going to do was I was going to read some of their accomplishments that they've been able to complete this year. When I got home today after class, my power went out. So I couldn't use my printer. So I'm just going to read off of here now. Yep, go pull it out. They're going to work on something in secret while I stand up here by myself. Okay, so we have 6 strands in challenge. One of them is research. The first semester, the kids completed 10 research papers that they presented